Hey, what's up? It's been a while.
So I originally intended this video for Halloween, but as you can tell, it's very much not Halloween anymore. So why didn't it come out in Halloween? Well, mental health happened. But you know what? Every YouTuber out there did videos on things that were super scary and spooky for Halloween. What was I doing? I was lying in bed lamenting my life. But seriously, what is Halloween really about? Getting fat off sweets and dressing up. And who's that make you think of? Well, if your answer was Jim Sterling, then you beat me to the punch on that joke, so thanks for that. But besides him, it should be Wario, of course. It was in the title of the video, you dummy.
Wario is a character in the Mario series who actually changes his clothes from time to time, and not to mention one of his games literally opens with him gorging himself on too many sweets to the point where he needs to go to the dentist. It's perfect, right?
Wario games have always been great. They're unique, take many forms, and always have a lot of fun and character to them. For instance, with the 2D side-scrolling game genre, we have Wario Land for the Game Boy, which was such a detraction from the Mario series of games, since they were more about Wario's brawn. He slammed the ground with his big old butt, ran around more open and explorative levels hunting for treasure, and charged his way through obstacles, and transformed into all kinds of wacky things, such as bats, inflation porn, zombies, and fire. Creative. I could do a whole series talking about the Wario Land games.
To put it simply, they were very creative and different, and if that sounds like the kind of series you'd like to see made, then let me know.
Thanks, Wee. Wario games do things the Mario games just always fail to do justice. Maybe it's due to the people handling these games, or Mario's precious brand image restricting what they can do, but these games always like to put Wario's character and personality up front, as well as usually have an actual story to follow. Honestly, I bet if you were tasked with listing out the character traits of both Wario and Mario, your list for Wario would no doubt be much bigger, since throughout most of his games, Wario has never shied from speaking his mind and sharing information about him, his habits, and overall character. He's always just doing and saying what he wants. I mean, who is Wario? He's a cocky, gluttonous, garlic-obsessed chaos agent who wants nothing more than to be ridiculously rich and ventures towards that goal with pretty admirable confidence as well as upper body strength. And you see a lot of that throughout his games. He's crude, brawny, but incredibly lovable in spite of it all.
Maybe it's just me, but I definitely feel like a lot of Nintendo's crazy creativity and stranger concepts are realized in Wario games, and Master of Disguise is no exception.
So what is Wario Master of Disguise? Well, first of all, it's a DS game.
So if you saw this and thought it was some kind of Wario Land game you'd maybe missed out on, you're not entirely wrong, but generally no, that's not what this is. Sadly.
I mean, this game may look like a Wario Land style side-scrolling romp, but the best way I can describe this game is that it's Metroid Fusion and WarioWare touched, thrown in a blender.
Sounds kinda tasty, right?
So, being on the Nintendo DS, this is one of those instances where the controls and how you interact with the game are very much tailored around the hardware. It's on the DS and has a touchscreen, so they try their best to get as much use out of the touchscreen as possible, for better and for worse. But we'll speak more about that in just a bit. So Master of Disguise opens with Wario sitting in his living room watching TV when a news show comes on and specifically calls out Wario, making fun of him for not being rich yet. And Wario doesn't really care all that much. I mean, look at him. He's dead inside enough as it is.
I mean, my life isn't exactly perfect, but if I was in a situation where the news was literally reporting, unlike Yuusha, still a fucking loser with under 1,000 subs and he's also still kinda chubby, I think I'd lose my shit. Just a little bit.
So to stop the pain caused by the world judging him, he moves on and watches a show titled The Silver Zephyr, about a phantom thief who can transform with the help of a magic wand. So naturally, Wario decides, yes, a thief, that's a perfect way for me to get rich quick. So what does he do?
No, seriously, I actually want you to guess and see if you get it right. Wario saw something about a thief and wants to get rich quick. What are his next actions following this revelation?
He runs into the other room, quickly invents something called the Telmet, which is a television teleporting helmet, which lets him jump into the world of the TV show so he can steal all the treasure possible.
Bet you didn't see that coming, right? It was a Telmet. You made a helmet that goes in the TV. It's a boring wall, right?
Wario lands in the world of the Silver Zephyr and quickly encounters the Silver Zephyr himself and promptly steals his wand named Good Style, which reveals him to be the lonely Count Cannoli, and also turns Wario into the Purple Wind. Silent but deadly.
This is also why the levels of the games are split up into episodes, since it's like you're playing out episodes of a TV show. I guess rather than it being about the Silver Zephyr, it's more about the Purple Wind now though. One thing you see throughout all cutscenes with Wario is how greedy he is. He just doesn't care about anybody else, actively mocking people he barely knows, exuding confidence even when people tell him he stinks of body odor. He wants what he wants and nobody's going to get in his way, and the way he goes about this just makes him super lovable, laughing in the face of adversity. Literally. Honestly, simply because of how crude and strong-willed he is, even though in many ways he has no right to be, makes me wish I were half as recklessly confident as he is. Did I just say I wanted to be more like Wario? So, since Wario steals the wand which allows him to transform from Count Cannoli, you'll encounter Cannoli throughout the game as he pursues you, trying to steal good style back from you. He comprises a few of the boss fights, and he's a pretty fun character to see along the way. He has an interesting design, and when you start fighting him, he says, "Buongiorno." And since good style is so familiar with Cannoli, he'll provide advice on how to beat him during boss fights. I guess you could consider this hand-holding. I mean, it's helpful, but I'm not entirely sure if it's necessary. But considering as you go through the game you accumulate more and more disguises, it sometimes can be easy to forget absolutely everything that's in your arsenal, and for the most part, good style just tells you which disguise you should be using at any given time, and not what to do with it, which can actually be very helpful since bosses can get to be more complex, requiring multiple disguises, so just knowing what disguise you should be using, and not actually how you're meant to be using it, can be a big help. So, seeing that the word is literally in the title, you can guess that these disguises are a pretty big part of the game, so let's take a look at what's on offer, since who doesn't love a good feature showcase? Thief Wario. This is the first disguise Wario gets from good style, the staple look of the silent but deadly Purple Wind. This will serve as your default disguise choice throughout the game and offers the most comfortable and standard Wario movement. You jump pretty high, move fast, and attack with Wario's patented shoulder barge attack, which doesn't work quite as satisfyingly as it does in the Wario Land series, but still strong nonetheless. Cosmic Wario. This outfit makes Wario look like an astronaut of sorts and comes with its own laser gun which you can use to attack enemies from a distance, as well as attack these little star blocks you see which drop treasures and gems. These gems are important as they can be used to power up your disguises. This disguise also makes Wario move slower, but he can also fall slower. Arty Wario. This disguise is one of the more interesting disguises simply due to how flexible and applicable it is. It lets you turn Wario into a master painter and lets you draw on the touchscreen to spawn objects such as blocks, warp gates, hearts, and poop. So that's cool. Right away you can tell how interesting this ability can be. I mean, you can't move while in this form since it's all about the painting, but it can help you to get that extra height you need to reach high platforms, create a floor for you to crawl through higher gaps, or be used to press down on switches to open doors. Or, if you find yourself stuck, you can spawn a warp gate to teleport you back to your most recent save point, or, if you haven't hit a save point, the beginning of the level. And later on you can literally spawn hearts which restore health, which part of me feels is a little overpowered and kinda cheating, but I also find myself using it a lot, so maybe I just suck, as per usual. You guys seen how dope I am at this one game? Especially the PS2 version. Mate! Genius Wario. This disguise makes Wario look like some genius inventor type, even though apparently he already is. I mean, who just walks into the other room and invents a helmet that lets you jump into a TV show? Who's the real genius? Wake up, America. Nevertheless, this is probably the least useful of all the disguises. All it does is equip Wario with a sort of X-ray glasses type thing, which removes certain environment sprites to reveal hidden areas behind them. And that's basically it. Captain Wario. This disguise makes Wario look like a captain who's wearing his boat. You can probably guess, but this disguise gives Wario more movement options in water. Usually in the Wario Land series, Wario could swim, but in Master of Disguise we have Sonic the Hedgehog water, in that when you get in a body of water, Wario just sinks like a rock to the bottom and you run around. You can't even do a Mario and swim, you just run and jump, but slower since you're underwater. Captain Wario lets you float along the top of the water and move much quicker through water. It's a pretty valuable and sometimes necessary disguise to don. Sparky Wario. Look at him. It's Wario but with spiky, ginger hair. I mean, Wario typically has brown hair, but for some reason is occasionally drawn with orange hair in the WarioWare series, but that could also just be due to the choice of shade for the brown. The true game theory, does Wario's hair is ginger? Anyway, Sparky Wario literally looks like he's shoved a fork in an electrical socket and he's all charged up with electricity, which, on paper, sounds like a really cool and damaging disguise, but the truth,
is much more disappointing, as he's nothing more than a glamorized lamp, having a bigger light corona in dark areas than other disguises and is able to create a bigger light to see more of the room. That's it, he doesn't even shock enemies. Pretty disappointing, really. Dragon Wario. This disguise turns Wario into a slow, heavy, fire-breathing dragon, which lets him destroy red fire blocks. This disguise can be particularly useful on icy areas. All other disguises slide along the floor when they hit ice except Dragon Wario, so it can help slow things down for some precise platforming. Wicked Wario, the last disguise you get in the game, and it turns Wario into a red devil. Sort of reminds me of that dragon guy from Ghosts and Ghouls for the NES. This disguise has one simple but useful ability in that it lets Wario fly. Only downside is it's powered by the microphone on the DS, so you know, you end up looking like this. This game's not a DS. Worth it for the joke though, right? And that's all the disguises you'll collect out the game. The way you find them is through chests. Since this is a game all about finding treasure, naturally all the important stuff is tucked away in obvious chests, which are all color coded for your convenience. Red chests are treasures, which contribute to your score for the level. Yes, there's a score, not that anybody cares, but when you finish a level and beat records, you get a voice that says, "Congratulations!" It's kind of odd, honestly. Purple chests are where you'll find important items, usually treasures and things that will move the story along. And green chests, which contain guise gems. These gems are eaten by Good Style and unlock new disguises for Wario to wear, but as I mentioned, you can actually upgrade disguises in two ways. One way is by collecting gems which power things up like damage, and also by finding mastery gems, which you'll find in green chests. Mastery gems will extend the abilities of any given disguise in some way. An example would be Captain Wario. Instead of just floating to the top, now turns into a submarine which can also shoot torpedoes, or RT Wario now being able to spawn 3 blocks instead of just 1, as well as now being able to spawn hearts to replenish health. Not all mastery gems are interesting like this though. Take Genius Wario. What does he get? He can attack now, with a spring boxing glove thing. Yeah, Genius Wario is kinda pointless. I think the only time I actually found Genius Wario to be useful was during a boss fight with Carpaccio. He turns into this weird blue ball thing which sucks you up, and then you fight him from the inside while he attacks you in various ways. One of his attacks is to send 2 identical balls on either side to crush you, and you need to shoot one with Cosmic Wario to stop the attack. But the only way to know the correct one to shoot is with Genius Wario. Congrats! We found a use for Genius Wario. About time. So, you might be wondering what I meant when I said this game is like Metroid Fusion and WarioWare thrown into a blender. Master of Disguise is very much laid out like a standard Metroidvania type deal. The top screen has a map system that has a bunch of connected areas blocked out on a map, and as you go through it, you reveal more of the overall map. That is, until you actually find a map and you can see the darkened areas you haven't been to yet. Naturally, this makes the game a more open experience with a bit of exploration. Not a lot though, mind you. While it is a Metroidvania to some degree, it's a very simplified Metroidvania since the exploration can feel quite linear in nature, since remember, this game is split up into levels, and most typical Metroidvanias usually have the whole game world be connected via one map. Not the case here though, but it still makes for some head-scratcher moments when trying to figure out where to go. But where does the WarioWare comparison come into play, you may be wondering? You may assume I'm talking about RT Wario since that's all about drawing on the touchscreen. Not so. The truth is that there are literally WarioWare style minigames thrown into the mix here. Every time you open one of the treasure chests, you have to complete a minigame to open the chest. There's only a small assortment of these minigames however, and which one you get is randomly determined for the most part. Some of the minigames, or if we want to go full WarioWare, we could call them microgames, include leading a ball through a tight maze-like structure by dragging it with a stylus, a literal dot-to-dot drawing, dropping the correct object into the correct receptacle, again by dragging them with a stylus, those annoying sliding panel puzzle things everybody hates. Thankfully made very simple here though. Squashing cockroaches, and this is one where you need to guide a Wario head to the treasure by drawing a line down the correct path, but I literally cannot get this one to work. I've tried so many times with literally no amount of success whatsoever. I have no idea what I'm doing wrong, but it's okay. If you fail, the chest just spits big creepy bombs with faces on them at you. They explode and the chest shuts itself again so you can try again, and it's a different game. Hopefully one which works this time. Seriously, tell me what the hell I'm doing wrong with this puzzle. It just don't work, dog. Personally, I don't care all that much about these puzzles. Like, to start, they do add a level of interest and variety, but as you grow more accustomed to the way the game works and how you progress through the levels, they just serve to kill any momentum for the exploration. You can sort of lose your sense of direction sometimes because they can be such a detraction, and they're not really worth anything. They literally serve as padding and nothing more. get the puzzle wrong or fail it somehow, you get kicked from the puzzle and it spits bombs at you. Move out of the way and then retry. That's it. No consequence really, and the games are random, so there isn't any tailored nature to the choice of the games. So what it comes down to is that it's a totally arbitrary addition that really didn't even need to be there. In spite of its flaws though, Wario Master of Disguise still remains in my mind a good game. It's got enough creativity and lovable characters with cheeky, quippy dialogue that you can forgive its few shortcomings, because in the end it's still a fun game and will definitely give you a few chuckles. It's got a nice variety of levels to explore with different themes and characters you meet along the way, and I'm purposely being vague about a lot of these details because I really think you should give this game a go. Find a copy, I'm sure it's cheap, or find some way to play it. It's a cozy little adventure on a cozy little console. I just want to get real for a sec here. Firstly, I just want to say sorry that this video took so long to come out. It's basically the end of November as I'm recording this. And if anybody who knows me via the Discord or via other areas of my life, you may know I've been having a pretty tough time mentally lately. And I'm honestly getting a little fed up of that being the case. But I'm going to try and keep myself in check going forward. Because I truly do care about making these videos and, you know, the people who watch my videos. Discord especially has opened up a doorway to the kinds of people who view my content and are genuinely such nice people who give me such good comments and motivation that it's really helped a lot, you know? Because I do enjoy making these videos, even if certain ones can cause some hatred. Shout out to this guy. But sincerely, if you're an old viewer or a new viewer, I just want to thank you for taking a chance on me as a creator. And I'm definitely not just saying that to the new people. I'll try to be better going forward. But yeah, thank you for watching. I'm sorry it took so long. I love you all. Thanks.